Hello, I'm Claire Smith and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a fragrance tag, and I've been tagged by Sana from Sana Path, and this tag was created by Simply Aisha. So the tag is called My Fragrance Personality, and it's basically a set of questions that you just have to answer. So if you haven't seen me before, I'm Claire Smith and I make videos all about perfume, perfume science, perfume history, perfume psychology even, and I also just do some straight perfume reviews. And I also love doing fun fragrance tags. So if this kind of thing interests you and you haven't done already, then please do consider subscribing. And also please like this video if you do end up liking this video. So I'm also going to tag a few other people to do this tag. I'm going to tag John from Scented Snowdrops. I'm going to tag Francis from Happiness Sparkles. And finally Lizzie from Rose and Jones. So hopefully they're all up for doing this tag. And let's get on with this. What's the first question? So the first question is, what is my boss babe fragrance? I absolutely hate the term boss babe. I really feel like women don't have to be babes to be bosses and vice versa. So my boss fragrance is Chloe Nomad. So Chloe Nomad is a very clean, very efficient smelling fragrance to me. You smell like you're sorted in life, like you know what you're doing. And I think that's really what you want from a boss, isn't it? So this one is a modern, cheaper fragrance. It's a ton of oak moss. It's lots of citrusy, fruity notes, with a little bit of a floral background, but really it's that oak moss that really shines through. It's almost a little bit pine needly, this fragrance, but you just smell very fresh and very clean. So this one gives off kind of a serious but friendly vibe, and I think that just really is perfect for work, and it's really long lasting, will take you through an entire day. So that's Chloe Nomad. So the next question is, which is your bedtime fragrance? Well, I've made an entire video about my bedtime fragrances, but the one that I've been wearing this week is Acqua di Parma Colonia. And I just have this little mini. And honestly, I tried it during the summer and I just wasn't really that in love with it. I didn't like how it smelt on me during the day. It was just a bit too soapy. But actually wearing this to bed, I've really been enjoying it. So this is a soapy, aromatic smelling kind of fragrance. It's got lavender in it. I think that's really what makes it perfect for bedtime. It doesn't last that long on me. And actually, I think that doesn't matter, does it, when you're going to bed? You only need it to last until you go to sleep. So half an hour at most. And this one's just really perfect. It really helps me to drift off. So Acqua di Parma Colonia. The next question is, which is your hug in a bottle kind of fragrance? Well, I've got quite a few hug in a bottle kind of fragrances, and I actually made a video all about my snuggly scents a few years ago. I really should update that video. But the one that I really think is the comforting one that I really enjoy is Narciso Poudre. And I don't have very much left, and I've kind of been hoarding it because I really love it. But it's just a very, very powdery fragrance, and it just makes me think of sort of someone with a lot of makeup on giving you a hug in a fluffy jumper. That's really how it smells. And it just smells as well like the colour of this bottle. It smells kind of very faint pink, very powdery pink kind of colour. And I just think it's very friendly, and I often wear it when I'm teaching actually, because it just is something that I think makes you smell very approachable and friendly. So yeah, Narciso Poudre is my choice for a hug in a bottle. So the next question is, what is your weapon of mass seduction? So I don't really do much seducing these days, but I think the one that I would probably wear, especially in the winter time, would be Black Orchid. And Black Orchid is a very divisive fragrance. It's not one that has people sort of sat in the middle of the opinions. And I have quite a vintage formulation of this fragrance. And I would say on me, this smells just really vanilla-y and delicious and creamy almost. And it's something that leaves a ginormous trail. You really, if you want to be smelt before you're seen, Black Orchid is a really good one. And I just really love that kind of feeling of being noticed when I'm wearing Black Orchid. If you want to stand out, this is the fragrance to wear. I also just really love the vintage formulation of Alien as well. I think Alien leaves that sort of beautiful muskiness on your skin that is really addictive. And obviously that jasmine as well is just stunning. But yeah, the new formulation just sort of smells a little bit almost like it's been muted. It's just toned down. It doesn't have that wonderful muskiness at the end of the fragrance. So if you can find the old one, it is worth searching out. But yeah, it's getting really hard to find now. So that's Alien and also Black Orchid. So the next question is, which fragrance do you never wear but you can't part with? And I think the one that has an emotional connection for me, the one that I really feel very drawn to but really never ever wear, is 4711 Eau de Cologne. So this fragrance was given to me by my grandmother when I was about 8 or 9. So I've had this bottle for about 30 years now. And this one, it's just something she didn't really wear herself. She only wore it when she had a headache. But I remember so distinctively the day she gave me this, and she died when I was sort of in my early 20s. And every time I sniff this fragrance, I think of her giving me this. And I just think that it's something that really ties me to her, even though she's been gone for a long, long time now. So yeah, I will never part with this one. So that's 4711 Eau de Cologne. The next question is, which is your favourite that you don't wear often enough? So I feel like this fragrance is one that I hoard because I know it's discontinued and I have seen the prices of if I wanted to buy another bottle of it, and I have less than 10 ml left now. So this is Orchid Soleil by Tom Ford, and this fragrance is just very distinctive. It's very different, and it's definitely not something that's instantly likable. It can be quite polarizing, this one. I've seen people really hate this fragrance, but I just really like it. I think because it just has that sort of association in my mind with childhood. It has very childhood smells to me. It smells like when I was on the farm when I was little. It smells like harvest time. And it also smells like towels in storage, you know, when you've been to the beach and you've come back from holiday, or you're about to go on holiday and you're getting towels out to take on holiday. It has those kinds of smells. It's almost a little bit suntanny in its sort of makeup. And I just think it's very distinctive, and it's sort of almost got a mothbally kind of smell about it, which I think is really interesting. It's just a very nostalgic fragrance. It takes me straight back to childhood, and it's one that I just hoard. So that's Orchid Soleil. The next question is, which fragrances would you suggest to a beginner if they wanted to smell unique? Well, this is a difficult one, isn't it? Because we've all got different tastes, and I think fragrance is really something you just have to sample to know whether you're going to like it or not. It's really not advisable if you're a beginner to blind buy. I think it's a stage we probably mostly all go through, but it's something that I wouldn't recommend. But I would say, really, for beginners, you're going to want something that's pretty likable, because when you are just starting out, you don't have a very out there kind of scent palette. You're sort of very naive almost. You're someone who needs to be trained to like things, almost like trying vegetables as a child. You need to try them a number of times before you're going to like them, because they're not something that is sweet and inviting. And I think really with fragrance, a lot of people like gourmand fragrances, don't they? I think they're really easy to like. So I'd probably recommend some gourmand fragrances above everything else. But I'd also be concerned about price point with newbies. So I think, you know, if you want to go super, super cheap, under £5, I would say Katy Perry's Indie is very likable. So that's really a sandalwood fragrance. And I went through a 30ml bottle of that very, very quickly. But obviously it's a celebrity fragrance. It's not the best quality fragrance out there. But I would say if you want a real cheapie, that's a good starting point. If you want to smell interesting, different, but not spend a lot of money, that's a good one. I think if you want to spend a bit more, you could definitely try the Reminiscence brand. So the Reminiscence brand have this line called Les Notes Gourmandes, and I have all three of these. So I have Guimauve, which is a marshmallow kind of fragrance, but it has a bit of a weird opening, but really just wait until the dry down. You smell that powdery, orangey marshmallow. There's also Heliotrope, which is a marzipan kind of fragrance. So it's a fig at the beginning, but it definitely turns into more of a marzipan, an almondy marzipan by the end. And the final one that I would recommend is Dragée. So this one is a sugared almond fragrance. All three of those are very delicious. And even though they are gourmand fragrances, they're not too foody. They still are definitely a fragrance rather than you're wearing a food, which I think is something that can be off-putting to some people. I would also say if you want to buy something interesting but at a lower price point, don't be scared of indie. So I'd say anything from Theodorus Calatinus, you probably, you know, if you like very literal fragrances, that's probably a good place to start. So I have Alluring Fig from Theodorus Calatinus, but Coffee Addict is really the one that a lot of people love. If you want to smell like, you know, a very sweet coffee, that might be a nice fragrance to try. I think also if you want to go more designer, you could try something like L'Entité Rouge. I think that's a very distinctive fragrance that you wouldn't smell like everybody else. And I think again, it's one that you would need to try because it's very love or hate, that fragrance. But it all depends what you like in life. And I think when you're just starting out, everything is new and exciting. So yeah, those are my suggestions for a newbie who wants to smell unique. So the next question is, which fragrance do you love that others hate? Well, the one that I think has been with me throughout, really, in fact, two that have been with me throughout, are Kenzo World. So Kenzo World is a Francis Kurkdjian fragrance actually, but it's got a really, really low score on Fragrantica. I think it's something like 3.2 on Fragrantica. So it's clearly not loved. And I think the thing that people struggle with this one is really Francis Kurkdjian's kind of signature use of his ambroxan. He puts ambroxan in pretty much everything that he makes. And this one is an ambroxan bomb, but it's a really kind of crystal clear, almost kind of bubble bath kind of style fragrance to me. And yeah, it's not a traditionally pretty fragrance, but it's definitely a clean, you smell very clean and very, just like you stepped out of a bubble bath basically. So that's what I like about this one. I think the other fragrance that I think people find very, very polarising, and I would say is really not popular anymore, especially in the fragrance community, but maybe in the wider public, is Black Opium by YSL. So this fragrance was my signature fragrance for a number of years. And I can't hate this one because it's just a part of me. But I see why people don't like it because it can be overwhelming, it is very cloying, it's very sweet, and it can be just too much sometimes. But yeah, Black Opium is another one that I will forever love because it was a fragrance I wore for a number of years. So yeah, YSL's Black Opium. So the next question is, which fragrance do you own that you consider to be overhyped? I can't really say that I own any fragrance that I consider to be overhyped. I think if you're not on people's PR lists, then you're not going to be gifted fragrances that you don't love. And also, if you sample fragrances, then you're not going to fall into that trap of buying fragrances that are really expensive, massively hyped, and just ultimately disappoint you. So yeah, I feel like that's not a thing for me at the moment. The next question is, which fragrance is on your chopping block? Well, I think the fragrance that I've been trying that I'm really not sure about is Chopard's Lemon Dulce. So Lemon Dulce has elements that I really, really like about it. I was really excited when I first got it. I really liked it. And the thing I like about it is the lemoniness and the freshness of it, but it's also really sweet. So it's like a lemon boiled sweet almost. But the thing that I'm not sure about is that it's got a kind of medicinal feel. It's quite a herbal fragrance anyway. It's got ginger, it's got mint, but it's also got something called shiso. And I don't even know whether I'm saying that right. It's just something I saw in the notes. And it's the only thing that I can pinpoint that I might not be liking in this fragrance. It's sort of a little bit bitter and herbal almost. And it just doesn't do it for me. There's something here that I'm just not loving, and it's not an easy wear for me, and it probably is on my chopping block. It might be going. So that's Lemon Dulce by Chopard. The next question is, which was your last fragrance purchase? Well, my last purchase was Kenzo Jungle L'Elephant. So this fragrance, I could not even have imagined me even tolerating on my skin when I first started YouTube. This is a dry, spicy, warm fragrance. I'm really not a warm fragrance kind of person, or I wasn't, and I definitely wasn't a spicy fragrance kind of person. This is also a really loud fragrance and it lasts forever. It's something that once you've got it on your skin, you're going to have to wash to get it off. And it's just a really gorgeous one. It's something that has cloves in it. I'm not normally someone who loves cloves either. It's also got cumin, which to me can smell like body odour. But this one just is something that I've had a sample of for so long, and I've been continuously trying it, and I just ended up buying it a couple of weeks ago. It's just something that grabbed me. So this one, I think the thing that I love about it is really the dry down. So the dry down, there's this really lovely vanilla, and it's kind of slightly spiced, it's warm, and yeah, it's just really distinctive. This is really what designer perfumery was all about. Before we got all this dross that we've got these days, it's just so different when you go back. I think vintage perfumery, even 90s, even 2000s, fragrances were just so much more interesting. And this one's from 1996, and yeah, it does smell a little bit vintage, but I would say it just smells really, really interesting overall. It's just something that I think really stands out and I'm really pleased to have. So that's Kenzo Jungle L'Elephant. So next is, which fragrance is at the top of your wish list? There's only one answer for this. I've been wanting this fragrance for ages. I've been stalking loads on eBay. I'm going to get one. I'm just looking for the right deal. And this is Givenchy L'Interdit Rouge. Givenchy L'Interdit Rouge is a fragrance that I remember trying when it first came out, and I just remember thinking it was a bit spicy. And I guess like Jungle L'Elephant, my taste has just altered and I really don't find it that spicy anymore. Yes, it's warm, but I don't find it off-putting. I actually quite like it. I find that quite addictive, and like I want to wear it. I want to experience that on my skin again and again. And I continuously go into store and spray this fragrance. So I'm clearly obsessed with it. So I definitely think that will be my next purchase when I find a good deal online. So that's Givenchy L'Interdit Rouge. So the final question is, which one fragrance would you choose for life? Well, I think this question is really quite telling, because I feel like a year ago my answer would have been very, very different. So I probably would have chosen a year ago something like Glossier You, something quite neutral. But I think nowadays I'd probably choose something like Bottega Veneta. So this fragrance is a beautiful suede fragrance. I absolutely love suede in fragrances, and I think this fragrance would just make an excellent signature fragrance, because it just is an all year round fragrance. And it's also a little bit stronger than Glossier You. It's something that I think other people would notice a bit more. And it's something that I think is quite distinctive. And I think that's really what you want with a signature fragrance. Something that's not too out there, but it's definitely a distinctive kind of fragrance. So Bottega Veneta would be my one choice for life. So that's the final question in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, then please press the like button. And please also consider subscribing if you haven't done already. And please let me know, which fragrance was the last one you purchased? Which fragrance would be your one fragrance for life? And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.